Happy Camper Radio, episode 006. Come on, let's go camping. And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. A cold and soaked one at that. Follow my lead, folks. Yes, you will be one too. Daniel, thanks for holding the fort down while I was gone last weekend. Do you know what happened when I went away? Do you have the slightest idea?
Have no idea.
All right, now I've got to stand up. I've got to stand up, okay, and admit for one time that I do not honestly practice what I preach when it comes to the weather and camping.
Oh, do tell more, Skip.
Last weekend, now keep in mind, this trip was planned many, many months in advance.
Uh-huh.
And I have always told our listeners, especially the ones that are brand new to camping, that if you're going to plan a last-minute trip out of town, what you want to do before you leave is check the weather forecast in the area that you're going camping.
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and clicked on the weather forecast to Hiawassee, Georgia, last Friday before I left. Now, we recorded last week's episode on Thursday. Friday morning, I went ahead and clicked on the weather forecast, and there it was. 90% chance of precipitation on Saturday, 100% chance on Sunday. Did I stay home?
No, Skip.
No, I went up there, and I got soaked beyond belief. Now, let me finish here. Now, the only reason I went ahead and did this was because I had some friends that got together and we decided a date. We decided it many, many months in advance. And I knew in the back of my mind that if I decided I was not going to go because of a little inclement weather and didn't show up, being the host of this show, I would have never heard the end of it.
Well, I have to say, Skip, sleeping in a tent or a pop-up, as I like to sleep in the rain, in the woods, is the most relaxing thing there is. It is so relaxing. I love it.
Yeah, well, you know something? I am not completely dried out, and I am not going to waste any time in getting our campfire started here. Yeah. So, I've got a shirt hanging on the line over there, and I've got to dry out.
Skip, isn't there a burn ban going on right now? What are we doing burning stuff? I mean,
not at the campsite. It's not.
Okay, I was just making sure. I don't want the fire marshal coming out here.
Not at this particular campsite. It's not. No, it's always open here for campfire burning, and that's why everybody is attracted to this site. 404-537-2267 is our number here at the studio. You can give us a call anytime, day or night, with your camping question. Of course, we'll take your comments and feedbacks too. 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. So, Daniel, I need to know, are you planning your trip as intensely as I was planning mine?
Well, let me just tell you, I was out there today scrubbing down the old pop-up, and it's looking pretty good. We just got a spare tire in case something happens. We opened it up last weekend. We aired it out. We had to chase some of the cats out because they're always interested in it.
Yes, friends. Who was it that came knocking on my door at 10:30 at night as I was leaving for work, wanting to borrow a wrench to take a tire off of his pop-up camper?
I know.
Only you would cut your grass at midnight. All right. But you're going to come over here and want to remove a tire from your camper just so you can go find the right size wrench and buy it at the parts store.
It didn't have a wrench that came with it, like my tire iron for my truck. It goes for my truck wheels, but I figured it's universal, but it wasn't. So I had to come over because I needed to replace that tire because I wanted to try to get all ready for the trip. And yeah, you're the man with the tools, Skip. What can I say?
Now, did you buy a spare wrench finally?
No comment.
This is a guy, folks. Okay, that swears by the Boy Scout motto: "Be prepared."
I'm the Homer Simpson, and he is the Ned Flanders. Let's just put it this way. He has everything, and I never give it back.
Well, I'm so delighted to see that the campsite is so clean and tidy. Of course, I understand too that this past weekend while I was gone, that you spent a lot of time in your hammock and had your wife doing campground chores. What's that all about?
That's her job, Skip. I make the money. She does the chores around the house.
Only you would get away with something like that.
Hey, I'm telling her right in front of her face. She's here playing on her little iPad right here, giving me the stink eye, but I can get away with it because that's how I got it.
That's because the microphone is open. And she's aware of that.
Exactly.
Okay, something else runs by my mind here too. Just the other day, I was thinking about you, and I don't do this very often.
Ooh, I feel special.
Yeah, you ought to. Both you and I have smartphones.
Yes.
Now, anytime it comes to electronic devices, I consider you to be a gadget kind of guy.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, look at it like this. If there's an electronic device out there, you will have already bought it. You will already have used it. You will already be experienced in it before I even know what's going on. But anyway, I went ahead this week and I says, I have got to check out the App Store and see if they have something in there that really, really is going to help me deal with my stress.
Uh-huh.
So I said to myself, no, but I'm going to look at it anyway. Let me find out if they do make an app that will measure a person's stress via your smartphone.
Right.
And lo and behold, there were plenty out there.
Uh-huh.
Now, I did not upload any of them to my smartphone.
Right.
The reason being is because I went ahead one by one and looked at them, and they look very simplistic, I've got to say that.
Right.
Problem being is when I looked at the reviews, a lot of people were saying, don't waste your time with this. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. It's not worth it. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, I read a lot of reviews. So before I go ahead and upload anything to my smartphone, I want to go ahead and see what other people have to say about it. Now, I did find one that people did swear by.
Uh-huh.
Folks were saying, hey, this works. Give it a shot. The only reason I did not upload that particular stress tester, as we'll call it, to my smartphone was because it cost $1.99.
What? $1.99?
Yes, $1.99 they wanted for me to upload this stress tester to my smartphone. Daniel, do you realize I can buy a package of mantles for my lantern for $1.99?
There you go. And I think technology does a lot, but there's no substitute for going out there in the middle of the woods and just feeling nature, being with nature, being in front of this campfire here. I mean, there's no more of a stress relaxer than this. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's why I had to see for myself. All right, I wanted to go ahead on a normal day, whether I'm at home or I'm at work, and I happen to be not feeling stressed out, but just to go ahead and maybe say put my thumb on this iPhone screen and get an idea of what my stress level will be like. Compare that to a moment like right now, where we're sitting in front of the fire, listening to the crackle and the pop and everything, and just to get an idea of what my stress level would be like at this particular moment.
Right.
I guarantee you it would be tremendously different.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. But anyway, it's talking about mantles for lanterns. That's what's on the agenda today here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. It's one thing to sit around at nighttime, and folks, let's understand something here. When you go camping, it's one thing to go out there and fish, go hiking, do bird watching, go sightseeing. That's one thing, but the highlight of your entire camping trip is like right now when the sun is down. Everybody's gathered around the campfire. You're sharing good thoughts and memories. You're relaxing. You're enjoying a good fire. This is what it's all about. But, however, don't always rely upon your campfire to light your campsite, because that's not going to happen. And the idea of throwing more logs on the fire to make things brighter is not what it's all about. I like a good campfire. I don't like a blazing campfire, but I like one that I can sit there and enjoy. Now, it's important for you to have a lantern or some sort of campsite lighting to go around your campground, or to around your campsite, though. Today, unlike years past, they make a lot of good lighting devices. We call them lanterns. Being the old-fashioned kind of guy that I am, I enjoy the gas-powered lanterns. What I'm talking about is the one that requires white gas, otherwise known as camp fuel.
Well, I have to say, Skip, you might like your gas lantern. I like my green lantern. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, Ryan Reynolds, he didn't do it so well in this last movie, but the Green Lantern is one of my favorite superheroes. We're talking about Green Lantern, right? Right, Skip? No?
Green Lantern, never heard of it.
Oh, it's a comic book. Tomorrow is comic book day. By the way,
Daniel, don't tell me you roll up your comic book and set the end of it on fire and walk around the camp. No, please don't tell me that.
There is nothing like sitting in front of a campfire, reading your comic books, and enjoying. What would you do if you were a superhero? I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Come on, Skip.
You don't plan on going on your camping trip and wearing one of these Superman outfits with the S on it and running around all over the place? You will be the highlight.
Okay, let me just.
The kids will love you.
Let me just tell you this right now, Skip. Iron Man 3 is out tonight, and I'm with you by the campfire because I am a dedicated co-host. Okay, I could be in the movie theater watching Iron Man 3. But no, I'm here with you because I love camping that much.
If you could be in the movie theater right now doing this show by remote, you'd be doing that too.
No comment.
Admit it. But anyway, back to our discussion about lanterns. Unlike years past, there are many choices out there today. You can either get a gas-powered lantern like I have. You can get one that has a 1-pound fuel canister to it that holds propane. You can buy one, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more, one that allows for dual fuel. And, it really depends on how much money you want to spend. Now, I like the one, like I say, with the camp fuel because it burns very clean. It lasts a good long time if you have this lantern, and I've got 2 of them, incidentally. If you fire them up at nighttime, I love the smell. I love the sound of the lantern. And when the fire dies down and you've got these lanterns burning and you're still sitting around talking, that hiss. And it's not like a cat hissing, all right? It's not like one of your several cats that are hissing. But I'm talking, it is a sound that's very, very relaxing and very, very enjoyable. The downside of the lanterns that I'm talking about, the ones that I'm using today, is the cost of camp fuel has skyrocketed tremendously over the past few years. I can remember, and I don't know how many years it was, going back now, when I went into my local hardware store or department store to buy a can of camp fuel, a gallon-sized can was on average about $3.50 a gallon. Today, it's $10 or $11 a gallon. I don't know why the cost of camp fuel has risen. But
how much is peanut oil? Like if you wanted to, cook like a turkey in like one of those big old boiler thingies. I mean, I think that's kind of expensive.
What does that have to do with?
I'm just saying, like that kind of gas.
Daniel, you don't use peanut oil to power your lantern.
I know that, but I'm saying. Like, it's a specific function, and I think if it's a specific function, it'll cost more, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I have to say, let me give you my 2 cents worth on lanterns. I am a technology guy, like you mentioned before, and I like the hiss. I like that. I like the smell and all that, but for efficiency, it doesn't get better than a tiny LED light and 2 AA batteries. I'm just saying, that's the way I am.
Well, for a family of 4, for example, I would recommend that you still go ahead and get your lanterns. Now, again, I have 2, and it's just me. I use both of my lanterns when I go out, and they are stationary. They don't get moved around. And I'll tell you why that is also in just a little bit here. But it's also good for every individual in your camping party to have their own flashlight. Now, if you've got your little LED, if you prefer that, some people prefer, hey, yeah, and your smartphone works just as well too, because they have apps for these little flashlights. And if you want to go that route, great. Again, I don't encourage people to bring their smartphones to the camp unless, of course, like I say, you've downloaded the latest episode of Happy Camper Radio and you're going to sit around the campfire and listen to Skip and Daniel run them out there for a little while. But anyway, the camp fuel that I use in mine, like I says, it is kind of costly, and it doesn't. The upside of it here is I'm not going to use that much of it because I do not leave my lanterns burn all night long. Some do. on average, if you run your lantern all night long and you keep it lit, you've got approximately 7 hours, I believe it is, 7 hours of good use. And that will keep your campsite lit up all night long. Now, if you're at a public campground, I would not consider doing that because your light may be blaring into somebody else's tent and they may be trying to get some rest. So you can go ahead and turn that down, say halfway, and you'll probably get about 14 hours of use.
Hey, I had a question real quick. What about those little filters that come in them? The little things that light up when you gas the lantern? How many times can you use those? I mean, when do those start wearing out? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Daniel.
You know what I'm talking about?
Those are called mantles.
Oh.
The ones we just got done talking about for $1.99. I did not buy the app for the stress tester, okay? Because I can go buy a package of mantles. I carry spares with me.
See, that's why you're the host and I'm the co-host.
Okay, when you're here to learn, and that's
exactly.
okay. Yeah, and trust me, I'm giving you your tuition's worth.
I'm learning just like everyone else here.
No, but it's good to have those things around because there are some replacement parts that you're going to need, and I keep a couple tools handy in my camping supply box. It's basically just a wrench in case you need to go ahead and replace the generator, which is nothing but a small tube, and it runs maybe about $5 in the camping supply house. I have only replaced one in about the past 15 years, to give you an idea how long they last. Now, I did have an incident this past weekend with all the rain and everything that's going on. In one of my lanterns, the pump went out. This is the little handheld pump that you pump your air into your lantern, okay, to bring the fuel up into the mantles. That went out. So I was down to one lantern. And that was fine because there was other guys there camping. They had their lanterns too, so we had plenty of lighting. But I was not about to jump in the truck and run into town 13 miles away to go ahead and go to the local grocery store, which incidentally, they do have camping supplies up there. And that is so cool to be able to go into a store like that and find fishing tackle, to find camping supplies at the same place you buy your groceries. So I just went ahead and I suffered with the one individual lantern, and that worked out just fine. But it's always good to carry some spares with you, some spare parts. There are not many. You might want to go ahead and carry a spare pump. You might want to go ahead and carry a spare generator. The mantles, I probably have 6 or 7 packages in my camping supply arsenal. The reason being is, and again, I talk about keeping your lantern stationary. These mantles, they are made up of a fabric, some sort of fabric. When you tie them, and there's 2 of them in there, when you tie them off and you light those mantles for the first time, they burn very, very bright, and they shrink, and they turn into this very, very white, beautiful, I want to call it kind of an ash, and it's very, very delicate. You don't even want to touch it because if you do, it will disintegrate. So that's why it's always very important to go ahead and keep your mantle or your lantern stationary whenever you decide you're going to go ahead and light it, and don't move it around. Now, take into consideration too, when it comes time for you to pack your gear into your car, from your car to your campsite, and vice versa, you're going to be moving that around. There are going to be some times where you can't avoid it, and your mantle, your lantern is going to get bumped, even in its protective case, and you're going to arrive at camp and you're going to say, "Oh my heavens, it's time for me to go ahead and replace the mantle." That's why I carry so many of those spares with me. Now, I also want to touch base on the fact that dual fuel lanterns seem to be the way to go today. Now, when I mean dual fuel, you can either burn camp fuel, or you can burn unleaded gasoline in your lantern. They cost a little bit more money, and you can buy these online too. Just go ahead and do a little bit of research. If you don't have a department store or a hardware store anywhere near you, you can go ahead and research some of those online. I believe a dual fuel lantern runs about $80. They'll last you a good long time. Take care of it. Your camping equipment, like I say, will take care of you. The only thing is, you cannot use unleaded gasoline in a lantern like I have, which I've had for several years, that is designed only for camp fuel. be very mindful of that. You do not want to put unleaded gasoline in a lantern that is designed for camp fuel only. You will ruin your lantern, and I believe it's going to be potentially dangerous. So always follow the manufacturer instructions. But dual fuels these days, I mean, that's probably the way I'm going to go the next time I have to invest in a lantern. I don't know when that's going to be, if it will ever be that way, because my gear is still running strong. I take very, very good care of it. But the next time I decide I'm going to go ahead and replace those lanterns, I'm probably going to go ahead with a dual fuel lantern. And again, you can buy them online at some of your camping supply stores, that sell camping supplies online. You can get them at your local hardware store, your local department store in the camping supply aisle. They're not very, very hard to find. Safety is a big issue. Keep in mind, these are not used for heating purposes. I would not bring them into your tent for heating purposes.
They get pretty hot, though.
They do. All right,
They get really hot.
And you want to keep them outside. Tent heaters are another issue, another program. We'll talk about tent heaters at another time. I would also recommend, if you have small children, young kids are inquisitive. They are going to be around when you light your campfire. They're going to be there when you light your lantern, when you light your propane stove. Anything that requires fire, your kids are going to want to be right there. I would highly recommend, as an adult, that if you are going to allow any of your children to handle matches, please do it under an adult's watchful eye. Safety is what it's all about. I talk about safety all the time. I've got safety tips on our website at happycamperradio.com. You want to arrive safely at your campground. You want to return home safely at the same time. That's what it's all about. If you're going to go out there and get hurt, you may as well just stay at home. So adults, anytime that you're using fire, I would highly recommend that the adults, in all cases, handle the matches, handle the appliances, and let your kids watch, let them learn, because there's going to come a time, yes, when they're going to feel comfortable, you're going to feel comfortable in allowing them to go ahead and handle some of these adult chores, which include lighting the campfire, lighting your stoves, your heaters, and what have you. All right. Placement at camp. This is also very important, too. When you're placing your lantern at camp, you want to put them in places that are going to be beneficial to you. Now, I have a fold-up table that I bring along with me, and I've got all my gear set up on them. That's where I wash my dishes. That's where I do my cooking. And it only makes sense for me to have a lantern right there on the table. In this latest camping trip that we went on, I brought along with me a canopy, which I take sometimes I don't, but I knew it was going to be raining, so it was important that I bring this along. In this case, and I'm going to put the pictures up there on the website, I don't have too many because I didn't get out to take the pictures that I really wanted to take because of the rain. But I went ahead and suspended the handle of one of these lanterns over the table, and you'll see this in the picture, and I suspended it with a bungee cord. And it provided the light I needed directly over my stove, over anything that I was doing right there at that table. They also make hangers that you can attach around a tree. And it has a little staff that comes out, and you can hang your lantern there. I would very, very much discourage you and say, do not under any circumstances, whether it is your property, whether it is somebody else's property, whether it is government property, do not drive a nail into a tree, whether that tree is alive or dead. All right, you want to preserve nature. You don't want to harm it. You don't want to destroy it. And if you were to drive a nail into a tree on government property and get caught, the fines are very, very hefty. That's something you do not want to do. Do not want to get involved in that.
Well, Skip, I would drive a nail into a tree, but I don't have a license. So
well, you don't need a license. You just need simple common sense.
Okay.
Don't do that. I don't care if the tree is dead or alive, as long as it's standing.
Well, okay, now I have to disagree with you. What about your trash and everything? You want to keep that up off the ground, so if bears or raccoons come around, you don't want them to be, poking around. If you have trash on the ground, that is bad news. That is terrible stuff.
Okay, well,
waiting to happen.
Daniel, you know, if you want to go ahead down that road, then I would recommend get you a bungee cord and use the bungee cord to tie your bag like you would be using a twisty tie, and suspend that from a tree with a bungee cord.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Okay,
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's what I would recommend that you do if you are going to suspend your lantern from a tree. Use a bungee cord, and I'm talking about a tree branch, you know, something that may be hanging low. And make sure your bungee cord that you're going to be using has enough length to it, so you know it's going to keep the top of your lantern away from the tree. You know, do not in any circumstances, like I say, use a nail. In some cases, they make stands that you can actually push into the ground. And, you know, the stands are designed for you to go ahead and hang your lantern on. In some of the recreation.gov sites that I've been to in the past, they have stands already concreted into the ground. And just looking at them, you can tell they are designed to hang lanterns from. And those are great, too. You're going to find them at some of your campgrounds out there as well. It's time now, folks, for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Oh, and we've got a great place for you to visit this week here. You know, just like last week in Michigan when we talked about camping by the water. This place right here, folks, is paradise. We're going to take you this week to the state of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma?
Bellstar, Oklahoma. Yes, this is a great place. It is run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and it is the recreation.gov family of campgrounds. They have 111 sites. Their season is already underway, and it runs through September 29th, 2013. It's a great place if you happen to live out in that part of the country, or if you're planning a vacation out that way anytime soon. You may want to keep Bellstar, Oklahoma on the agenda there. And it's our featured campground of the week. You can find that on our website at happycamperradio.com. Click on it, and it will take you right to that individual page. They've got a lot of great amenities out there. They've got beach access, a boating ramp, plenty of drinking water, dump station if you're bringing your RV. Fishing. Hey, fishing. If you want to go ahead and fish, if you're an angler, this is a great place for you to go fishing. It sits right on Eufaula Lake. Now, this is a very big lake with over 600 miles of shoreline and 102,000 acres of water. That is a big lake. Click on the map there. Take a look at the facility map, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about there. The campground, just about every site is a stone's throw away from the lake. So you're going to have a lot of fresh air up there, and they've got a lot of shade up there too. So, you know, you don't have to worry about the sun beating down on you. Click on any one of those individual sites and see what they have available there. You'll find also that this is a very pet-friendly environment. So you can bring Fido, you can bring Harper, you can bring your pet along. Just be careful and mindful of your pet's business. Okay, you don't want to offend any of your fellow campers. But this is a great place to go camping. I went ahead to their date range availability and looked around there. They have got plenty of sites available right now. If you want to go ahead and make your reservation online, and if you have not logged in for an account, you can sign up right there on their page in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that. They ask you for some basic information. It doesn't cost anything to go ahead and register. Do that right now, and this makes any reservation that you make at a recreation.gov campground so much easier. That's it. This Bellstar, Oklahoma. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And if you have a campground that you would like us to feature on the program, definitely drop me a line here, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. We'll take a look at it there. And by all means, make sure that you include a website, a link to their website, so we can put that up on our website as well for everybody to look at when they click on the featured campground of the week. That's going to do it for Daniel and I here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Don't forget, you can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and you, my friends, can be one too. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.